History is not just what happened, it is what shaped the world we live in. Welcome to Random History. This is living history. I am an old man now. The mountains have outlived my father, and his father before him. They will outlive my sons as well. Stone does not hurry, it watches. It remembers. And in these mountains, we once whispered a name, Hassan. Some called him Hassan-i Sabbah. Others did not dare speak it at all. I was a boy when I first heard of him. We lived in the valleys below the high fortress you now know as Alamut. To us, it was simply the eagle's nest, a place so high that clouds moved beneath it. Before Hassan came, it belonged to the Seljuks. Soldiers passed through our lands, taxes were collected, lords changed, but peasants remained peasants. Then one year, it must have been around 1090, word spread that a quiet scholar had taken the fortress without bloodshed. They said he did not storm it. They said he did not bring an army. They said he simply entered. And when the dust settled, Alamut belonged to him. His name was Hassan-i Sabbah. Now, I was no scholar. I did not understand the disputes of great men, but the elders told us he had once been a man of learning, born far from here, perhaps in Qum, perhaps in Ray, a man who studied theology, philosophy, numbers, and the movements of the heavens. They said he followed the Ismaili faith, a branch of Islam different from the rulers who governed our lands. The Seljuks were Sunni, Hassan was not. Religion was no small matter in those days. Men killed for less. Some said he had traveled to Cairo in Egypt, where the Fatimid Caliph ruled. Some said he studied among great thinkers there. Others said he was ambitious, too ambitious, and made enemies. But when he returned to Persia, he did not return as a wandering scholar. He returned with a purpose. We heard he traveled in secrecy, that he spoke in homes, in quiet rooms, in places away from watchful eyes. He did not shout. He did not preach in markets. He spoke softly, and people listened. When Alamut became his, something changed in the mountains. The fortress did not blaze with banners. No great army marched from its gates. Instead, silence deepened. And that silence frightened people more than war. Hassan did not rule like other men. He rarely left the fortress. It was said he lived simply, austere, disciplined, severe. He imposed strict religious order. Even his own sons were not spared punishment if they violated his rules. We heard that he executed one of them for drinking wine. Whether this is true, I cannot swear, but we believed it, because it fit the man we imagined. His followers were unlike soldiers we had seen before. They were young, devoted, quiet. They did not boast. They did not drink openly. They prayed. They listened. They obeyed. And then the killings began. Not random killings, not village raids, but precise deaths. A Seljuk official would fall, a governor would be found dead, a powerful vizier, like Nizam al-Mulk, was struck down in 1092 by one of Hassan's men. That one shook the earth. Nizam al-Mulk was no small man. He was one of the most powerful figures in the Seljuk Empire, and yet he fell to a single blade. That was when the whispers truly began. People said Hassan's followers feared nothing, that they would walk into enemy courts knowing they would die, that they did not resist capture, that they welcomed death. We did not call them assassins then. That word came later, carried by crusaders and foreign tongues. But we knew them as fidai, those who sacrificed themselves. And sacrifice they did. It was said that when Hassan commanded, a man would leap from the battlements to prove his loyalty. I never saw such a thing, but travelers swore they had. Were these stories exaggerated? Perhaps, but in times of fear, stories grow like weeds. The Seljuks sent armies against Alamut. They tried to crush this mountain order, but the fortress stood firm. Its position was strong, nearly unreachable. Supplies were stored. The people inside were disciplined. And Hassan did not fight like a king. He fought like a shadow. If an army threatened him, a general might die. If a ruler persecuted his followers, that ruler might not see another winter. Not through open war, but through a blade delivered in silence. We peasants did not understand strategy. We understood fear, and fear shifted. Before, we feared tax collectors and soldiers. After Hassan, even governors feared to sleep. Some said he had spies everywhere, that no court was beyond his reach, that no tent, no palace, no army camp was safe from his eyes. Others said he possessed knowledge beyond men, that he spoke with hidden imams, that he uncovered secrets buried in sacred texts. But when I grew older, I realized something simpler. He understood power. He knew he could not match the Seljuk Empire in open battle, so he chose precision. Remove a leader, and armies falter. Strike fear, and strength weakens. It was no sorcery, it was calculation. Still, to us in the valleys, it felt like something beyond this world. We heard tales, some surely false, that Hassan showed young men visions of paradise, that gardens bloomed within Alamut, that wine flowed, that promises of eternal reward were made to those who gave their lives. I never saw such gardens, and historians now argue such stories were spread by enemies, by crusaders, by men who did not understand the Nizari faith. But the rumor endured, and rumors are powerful. Years passed. Hassan rarely descended from the fortress. He ruled from within, sending letters, commands, teachings. His state, if one may call it that, stretched across scattered strongholds in Persia and Syria. It was not an empire of land, it was an empire of loyalty. In 1124, word reached us that Hassan had died. Not slain, not assassinated. He died of illness, as men do. And I remember something strange. The mountains did not tremble. No fire fell from the sky. The world continued. But the fear did not vanish. Because what Hassan built did not depend on one man alone. It was a network, a belief, a disciplined order. Even after his death, the Nizari Ismailis remained. Their fortresses stood. Their enemies remained cautious. Only generations later, with greater storms come, the Mongols, whose armies would crush Alamut in 1256. But that was long after my youth. When I think of Hassan now, I do not see a demon, nor a saint. I see a man who understood that power does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers.